our top story tonight. The nation is still reeling from Thursday's bombshell announcement that Lisa Marie Presley has filed for divorce from Michael Jackson. According to friends, the two were never a good match. She's more of a stay-at-home type, and he's more of a homosexual pedophile. Meanwhile, President Clinton is hard at work on Tuesday's State of the Union address, in which he'll focus on crime, education, and the economy. At the request of the First Lady, part of the President's speech will be huge lies. This week on NBC's Dateline, 3 members of the Simpson jury explained their not guilty votes and argued that if Simpson had killed his wife, there should have been blood stains all over his gate, front door, and light switches. Also this week, Simpson friend Al Cowlings released his video, How to Get Blood Stains Off Gates, Front Doors, and Light Switches. And in Brentwood, O.J. himself was spotted manning a lemonade stand with his daughter Sydney. Asked by reporters why sales were so poor, O.J. replied, "Beats me," and then he went back to cutting lemons with a giant knife. Well, bad news for ice cream moguls Ben and Jerry. This week, the Food and Drug Administration banned their newest flavor, Ben's back hair. In an interview last week, administrators of the FAA, David R. Hinson, explained why English is the only language used by pilots around the world. It turns out all the other languages are weird. Can't even hardly understand most of them. Eric Etheridge, editor of George magazine, has quit over policy differences with the publication's editor-in-chief, John F. Kennedy Jr. Translation, they're both banging the same receptionist. As new questions arise about Hillary Clinton's role in Whitewater, the president appears to be distancing himself from the First Lady. Earlier today in his weekly radio address, the president insisted, "Hey, I sleep with hundreds of girls. I can't vouch for all of them, you know?" Meanwhile, the war of words between President Clinton and New York Times columnist William Safire continued to heat up. It all began when Safire called the First Lady a, quote, congenital liar. Clinton responded by saying Safire, quote, deserves a pop in the nose. Safire replied by offering to fight Bill Clinton, quote, anytime, any place. The president answered, quote, how about right now? Then hopped a plane to England and lit up a big fat joint. Is the First Lady a compulsive liar, though? It's beginning to look that way. In an interview on last night's 2020, intended to promote her new book, It Takes a Village, Mrs. Clinton folded under tough questioning by Barbara Walters and admitted that, in fact, it does not take a village, and furthermore, that she was aware that it does not take a village when she wrote the damn book. Ah, my tie looks funny? Thanks there, buddy. I think maybe that joke had bigger problems than the tie, but in an effort to raise money for his enormous legal bills, O.J. Simpson this week began marketing a video which attempts to prove his innocence. Should the tape not sell, Simpson has a backup idea, his very own video of the actual murders themselves. In one of the most amazing stories to come out of New York's blizzard of '96, supermodel Claudia Schiffer trudged over a mile through waist-high snow this week in order to make it to a photo session. Even more amazing, she sleeps with this guy. And in Boise, the Idaho State Medical Board has censured Dr. LeVar Withers after dozens of women alleged that he fondled them while their legs were up in stirrups. An angry Dr. Withers replied, "Hey, if I'm such a monster, why didn't they just go to another dentist?" In business news, AT&T this week announced the first of 40,000 layoffs. A spokesman for AT&T said, "You know anyone who needs a good spokesman?" And in California, Christian Brando was released from state prison Monday after serving nearly 5 years for killing his sister's boyfriend. Meanwhile, his father, Marlon Brando, ate 9 pizzas. This year's lack of snow in Alaska could help generate a surplus of moose next year because deep snow makes it harder for moose to search for food, which leaves them more vulnerable to wolves. Or so the Germans would have us believe. A 3-year-old Texas boy remains in fair condition after being assaulted by the family's pet cougar. No one knows why the attack occurred, but hey, how about because their pet is a cougar? How about... 47-year-old Adrienne Brown, wife of soul legend James Brown, died suddenly last week. Most shocking of all, she was not killed by James Brown. And in Polk City, Florida, a man had his stolen car returned, but the cremated remains of his father, I say the cremated remains of his father, are still missing. Don't I know it? Oh, yeah. That's right. Across the nation this Monday, banks and government offices will be closed in observance of Martin Luther King's birthday. Meanwhile, at the Riverbend Maximum Security Prison in Nashville, Dr. King's assassin, James Earl Ray, will spend the day being raped continuously. He's a bad guy, by the way, James Earl Ray, if you don't know that. If that helps. Finally, in U.S. News and World Report's list of the best and worst jobs for 1996 is out. Last year's best job, multimedia software consultant, was replaced by a new best job, bioindustrial engineer. And in the worst job category, last year's winner, crack whore, has lost its spot. The new worst job is assistant crack whore. Dr. Jack Kevorkian was responsible for another death this week, this time a 58-year-old woman. She is the 26th of Kevorkian's patients to die since 1990. When are people going to realize he is not a good doctor? Do not go to this man. He's incompetent. He's terrible. The LA District Attorney's Office has given Marsha Clark and Christopher Darden bonuses of over $10,000 for, quote, lengthy hard time duty, unquote, in the O.J. Simpson case. A spokesman for the DA said that the prosecutor's bonuses would have been even higher, except for the fact that they let a killer go free. And that economic news, the Mexican peso yesterday sank to an all-time low as it showed up drunk to a family reunion and hit on its cousin, the centavo. In a recent interview, Christy Brinkley suggested that football players should have special gloves connected to lights on their helmets. That way, when they catch the ball, you'll know who has possession. Read these and other interesting ideas in Christy's new book, I'm an Idiot.